Does he beat you mercilessly, right? And then they would, if the captain sounded like a nice guy, maybe they would even give him his ship back. And if he sounded like he was, a brute, then the pirates would take it out on him. The pirate Edward Lowe, known for his particular cruelty, it was his habit to slice off part of the captive's body, like his lips, nose, or ears, and then force the individual to eat their own roasted body parts. Like I said, today somebody we would call a sociopath, right? Picture to the left, they're forcing a captive to run around the mast below decks to the song of a fiddle as they are repeatedly stabbed. This was a form of entertainment that was known as the sweat. All right, that was the nasty stuff, all right? So no more torture from here on out, I think. So here you see, this is Fort Loyal, which was a fort that was built in Portland between King Philip's War and King William's War. So King William's War starts in 1690, and so they built this fort so that if the English settlers in what is today Portland were attacked again, they could retreat to this fort and they would hopefully be safe. So this is Fort Loyal. It sat at the foot of India Street, on the intersection of India and 4th Street. And if you know Portland, Commercial Street sits on fill. It was all filled in the 1850s. So before that, the water line was actually on 4th Street. That's why it's called 4th Street, because it used to sit right on the 4 River, right? And then in 1850, they fill all that area in to connect a couple of big railroad stations. But Fort Loyal, built at the intersection of 4 and today India Street. So in August 1689, a gentleman by the name of Thomas Pound departs Boston Harbor with a small crew of 12. What his intent is to go to the Caribbean to prey on French shipping, but he decides he needs a larger ship, which reminds me of that famous line from Jaws, we're going to need a bigger boat, right? Great movie. So he needs a bigger ship, maybe some more men, food, maybe some more arms, maybe some more ammunition. He takes a fishing vessel off of Casco Bay, and then in Casco Bay, they steal a calf and 3 sheep. Point of interest here, we have in Casco Bay islands that are named Ram Island, Hog Island. The reason why they're named these islands was, well, guess what? It was a lot cheaper to put your animals on islands than it was to build fences, right? And so they would take animals and they would pasture them on islands for the summer, and that's why you have a Ram Island, or we had in Portland a Hog Island, and then a bunch of rich tourists bought Hog Island in the late 1800s, and they didn't want to have their summer home on Hog Island, so they changed the name of the island to Great Diamond Island. And that's why Great Diamond Island is called Great Diamond Island. So, after that, they go to the Fort Loyal, after they catch the calf and 3 sheep. They go into the harbor, they anchor off of Fort Loyal at the foot of modern India Street. Pound meets with the fort's captain, a gentleman by the name of Sylvanus Davis, and requests food and water and the use of the fort's surgeon. Davis becomes suspicious, Sylvanus Davis, when he hears that the vessel has an unusually large crew for a fishing vessel, and the doctor comes back and seems particularly nervous. In fact, what had happened was Pound had tried to convince this doctor to join them on their piratical voyage to the Caribbean to attack the French. The doctor had declined Pound, but unknown to Sylvanus Davis, 2 of the fort's soldiers had agreed to join the pirate crew. And here I'll quote from Black Flag's Blue Waters, the epic history of America's most notorious pirates by Eric J. Dolan. Quote, "That evening, Davis set armed guards around the fort and told them to keep a good watch on the water side. At midnight, 7 soldiers who had decided to cast their lot with Pound rose up and trained their guns on their fellows. Gathering all the arms, ammunition, and clothing they could carry, the traders took the fort's boat out to the Mary, which was the name of the ketch, and soon thereafter, Pound set course for Cape Cod. Pound and his crew captured several vessels off of Cape Cod, and over the next few weeks, They continue to capture vessels. Massachusetts Governor Simon Bradstreet sends out a boat with 20 soldiers under the command of a Captain Samuel Pease to capture the pirates. The soldiers catch up to Pound off the coast of Martha's Vineyard, and a battle ensues. In response to Pease's demand that Pound strike his flag, Pound says, "Come aboard, ye dog, and I will strike you presently." After an hour of fighting, the soldiers board the pirate vessel, and after firing a volley from their muskets, they beat the pirates into submission with the butts of their guns. 4 pirates are killed, and the rest taken back to Boston for trial. Pound is sent to England, where for some unknown reason, he's set free. And then once again, he's one of these individuals who just disappears from history. So you have these several members of soldiers who are taken from Fort Loyal who become pirates. The next year, Fort Loyal is attacked by a force of French and Wabanaki. And after a couple days, the English are running out of ammunition, they're running out of food. The French have dug trenches over to the palisade walls and are throwing primitive grenades over. And so the English say, "Hey, could we have terms? Could we, surrender, and we'll go to the nearest English settlement." The French say, "Okay, come on out." And when they do, the English are massacred by the French Wabanaki allies, who kill about 200 colonists. And Wabanaki are able to reclaim this area. No English settlers return to the area known today as Portland for about 15 years. And so Portland is known for having been burned to the ground on no less than 3 separate occasions. That's why there's a phoenix on the flag of the city of Maine. And that's why the motto of the city is Resurgam, to resurge. This is considered the first time that Portland is burned to the ground. And so we got to imagine, did the loss of those soldiers, did that contribute to the fact that the fort was taken by the French and their Wabanaki allies? This is the Whydah Galley. Remember I told you about that pirate ship that was found off the coast of Cape Cod in 1984? So the Whydah Galley, she's a sailing vessel, but she's also a galley, which means she can be rowed. And they would have had these sweeps, these long oars. And so here I have a quote for you about the Whydah Galley from Real Pirates, the Untold Story of the Whydah, From Slave Ship to Pirate Ship by Barry Clifford, the gentleman who discovered her. The Whydah Galley is named after the slave port of Whydah, right? There's still Whydah today on the west coast of Africa. Today it's in modern day Benin. And so the Whydah, the ship, is named after Whydah, the port, because she was designed as a slaving vessel, and that's was her purpose. So she was built in London in 1715. She left on her maiden voyage 1716. The 300-ton galley, as I said, could be rowed or sailed. She was top of the line, right? She was a state-of-the-art ship for her time, 1715. Incredibly fast for that era. She represented the best nautical technology of the day. Shallow, drafted vessel with a low silhouette, easy to maneuver, unusually fast, capable of speeds of up to 13 knots, which is pretty fast for back then. Shallow draft means that she didn't draw that much water, so she could sail into shallow bays and rivers and so forth. Carried an arsenal of weaponry, including 18 mounted cannons for defense against attacks by Africans, European warships, or pirates. On her maiden voyage, the Whydah set sail from London out the English Channel and then turned